Hello, my friends. We are here today to do a walkthrough of our brand new novel study, The Green Ember. Let's get right into it. So first of all, this is our first novel study that is for both elementary and middle school ages. We only have 4 novel studies out. We have 1 elementary novel study, Little House in the Big Woods, and then we have 2 middle school novel studies. So this is the first one that will be for both of those age groups. And that's really important to me because I have children who are both in elementary and middle school. So it's really awesome to have something to use with both of them for language arts. Most of our language arts is geared towards those elementary kiddos. Our history and science you can absolutely combine. So I love that we were able to combine it inside of this novel study. So there are 11 lessons in this, and just like all of our other rabbit trails, they're designed to have each lesson take about 2 weeks to do. So it'll tell you exactly what chapters you need to read and all of that, which, by the way, the only required book for this novel study is, of course, The Green Ember by S.D. Smith. So appropriate, right? We have rabbits. We're rabbit trails. We love our rabbits. It is written by a homeschool dad, so it was so appropriate for us to be able to do this novel study pretty quickly after we started releasing these novel studies. So inside of those 11 lessons, they are going to be language arts lessons. So those different lessons are going to cover characters and setting, visualization, dialogue, adverbs, hyperbole, cliffhangers, cause and effect, types of sentences, commas in a series, italics in writing, and making predictions. So those are some really cool lessons to go over that are absolutely appropriate for both those elementary and middle school ages. And it's just a really cool way to get language arts in, because that's what's important to me, is that we're able to use literature-based resources to learn language arts. We don't just want to sit there in a workbook and learn a noun and a verb and all of that stuff and writing them down in a notebook. That's boring, right? Kids are not going to remember it. But when they remember it by reading real books, it actually helps with that memory retention a little bit. And they're actually going to remember those different things that they're learning because they're able to see it in action inside of those books instead of just seeing it on a worksheet. So it makes a really huge difference in teaching language arts in your homeschool. So I want to show you inside of this curriculum. It is set up just like any of our other rabbit trails. So if you are new to rabbit trails, this is a really good intro for you so you can see what the different curriculum is going to look like, because all of our rabbit trails are laid out the same exact way. Makes it super easy. So if you buy a history from us, if you buy a science, novel study, whatever it is, the layout's going to be the same with that 2-week per lesson kind of layout. Now this has in the table of contents, it is just listing those things that I already listed to you of what you're going to learn per lesson. You are not going to see any type of like scope and sequence. You're not going to see day 1 do this, day 2 do this. We do have on our website, which we're going to be linking for you guys, we do have a sample schedule, but that sample schedule is just how you could lay it out over 2 weeks. But we're all about flexibility here. My homeschool is going to look different than your homeschool, and we want it to be doable for you to do. So you can do small chunks every single day where you maybe just read a book, or maybe you just work on a certain aspect of it. Or maybe you do a bunch of those in just a couple days a week, because that's what works for your homeschool. So you can see a sample schedule of how it would look laid out every single day, 5 days a week for 2 weeks to give you an idea of how you can implement all of that, but absolutely make it your own. If you guys fly through one of the lessons in a week, go for it. If you want to take more time to do something because your kids are super interested and you're doing even more natural rabbit trailing, go for it. That is the beauty of this curriculum, is you can absolutely make it your own. So first things first is we have our lesson page. So our lesson page is exactly what it sounds like. That is where you're going to see that language arts lesson and teaching the kiddos those concepts. You're also going to have copy work. Some of the copy work is going to come directly from the book. The other piece of copy work is a Bible verse that somehow ties into it. And then we have a small Bible lesson to make that verse tie into whatever's happening in that chapter for the kids to be able to grasp that concept. So I love that we're able to tie everything back into that novel and really have that be the central focus of this novel study. You're going to have some fun. So this is some type of fun activity. Sometimes it is making a crab. This is making a star seek like they do in the book. Sometimes it might be a writing assignment, or it might be some other sort of hands-on activity. It's going to be a little bit different for every single lesson. And then of course we have our rabbit trails page. So this is where we start to introduce picture books, because that is my love, is picture books. So even in novel studies, you're gonna find picture books inside of each of the lessons. And these are going to dive down even further down that rabbit trail into different topics that are happening throughout that chapter. And so it'll tell you how it ties in these little blurbs. So this has 2 picture books here and also a video for you to check out. Every lesson has a video here. And then the library list is even more picture books for you to check out. So none of these picture books on either one of these pages are required. These are additional reading, additional learning for you. Pick out a couple of them for every lesson. If all 5 of them sound amazing, read all 5, see what your library has. You don't have to purchase them, right? If it's something that you fall in love with, I know this one I have in my house. This one I have in my house. Like, I have those favorites, right? That I have read them. I'm like, we have to have this. So we add it into our home library. But don't feel the pressure to have to buy every single book inside of this. Pick out the books you want to read, what sounds interesting, which one do you think your kiddos will like the best, and add those to your lessons. And then finally, we have the More Ideas page. So the first thing that's in the More Ideas page on every single lesson for the Green Ember novel study is some type of apologetics. And so I love that we're able to tie that in for just a really good family Bible study time and just to pull out different themes from the novel that all point back to the Bible in some way, shape, or form. And then there's going to be opportunities for studies and research. There's going to be opportunities for additional art projects. There's going to be different things, like this has safety tips because Heather and Pickett stayed out even when they heard a rumble of thunder in the distance. Is that safe? No, that's not safe. Let's talk about safety, right? So we're able to pull different things out. There's a thing on here about synonyms, finding a recipe, what pictures come to mind, draw or paint what you think they look like. You're gonna see a full spectrum of ideas inside of this More Ideas. And just like the picture books, you're welcome to do every single one of these, or you're welcome to pick and choose. Do you want to just do a handful of them? Do you want to pick 2 or 3? Do you want to pick 1? Maybe you're having a really busy week and maybe none of these ideas sound interesting to your child except for 1. That's okay. You can do as many or as few of these More Ideas, and the more you do, the more you're going to get out of it, and you can just be completely flexible with your life. So that is what one full lesson looks like. We also have the companion journal to go along with the novel study. So you can absolutely do all of your work inside of a notebook from Walmart. Feel free. That's what we started doing inside of Rabbit Trails. These companion journals are very new. They just were released this past summer for all of our curriculum. So you can do it in a notebook from Walmart, or everything in here is laid out for you, which makes it really simple. In fact, we even did a history lesson earlier today that normally we would have to go searching for a map to do for our map work, but the map was right there inside of the companion journal. So we no longer had to Google to try to find a map that worked for that lesson. So there's going to be somewhere to do any type of work that needs done in your lesson. There is room for your copy work. There is a place for the Bible copy work as well in here. There's also a place that as you are watching those videos in every lesson, that if your kiddo wants to write down anything they learned, there's a space for it. Same for the picture books that you are reading, that if your kiddo wants to jot down anything that they learned from those books, they can put it in this space. There is an awesome chart for apologetics for every single lesson, and that is something I love about this, is it's already done for you to throw in that apologetics lesson, and I really love the layout of this for that. And then anything that needs to be done for More Ideas. So there's a space for the animal study in here from the More Ideas. There's a space for the pictures that come to mind as you read. So anything that actually requires like paper to do, it's in here for your kids to do it right inside of this companion journal. So you don't have to worry about finding different resources or anything like that, or, you know, how am I supposed to organize it? Later on, there's a Venn diagram already ready for you, and it just makes it really, really simple, so that you're not trying to like reinvent the wheel. We've already done it for you inside of these companion journals. So this is just a really wonderful, wonderful novel study. I am so incredibly happy with how it all turned out, and we love the Green Ember. I know the Green Ember is huge in the homeschool community, and I love that. We tried reading this as a read aloud before we did this novel study. I think I got 3 chapters in, and my son like kidnapped the book from me and went and read it himself within like the next week or something like that, where it would have taken us several weeks to get through as a read aloud. So he fell in love with it. He has read the next couple of books after it, and it has just been something that he's been really excited about. So he was really pumped when I said we were doing a novel study, because even if you've already read this book, you're gonna get a whole new world out of it by doing it as a novel study. Right now in our home, we're doing The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe novel study. We've read that a couple of times, but we're still able to go back through it and see things that we wouldn't have because of the questions that are asked and because of the apologetics and the activities and all of that my kiddos are still getting stuff out of it, even though they've already read the book before. So it's a really cool novel study to still do. If you've already read Green Ember, don't be like, oh, we've read it, we can't do the novel study, because you will get so much more out of the book by doing the novel study along with it. And your kids are learning language arts. It's a win-win. So that is inside of it. On the website, like I said, there is a sample schedule. There is also a sample lesson for you to see if you want to go back through what I walked you through. You can see it yourself on the website. So you guys can take a look at that in the link that I have posted below. And I hope that you fall in love with this as much as we have. And I will see you guys next time. You take care.